Good morning.
Good morning.
When Yvonne first invited me to come and give my testimony, I remembered the other times I did this, and I thought, oh my goodness, I was so nervous. I don't think I can do this again. Well, I prayed, and I told her that I'd pray, and I really thought about it a long time, and I wasn't getting an answer. So I asked the Lord to highlight in the Bible something that would let me know what His will was for this, whether, I was supposed to do this. Well, I came to Isaiah 52:7, and that says, "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, good tidings, announcing peace and bearing good news." Well, I knew my testimony was good news because God has done so many marvelous things in my life. And I knew also that He wants us to proclaim His marvelous deeds, right? And besides that, I had the added bonus of having beautiful feet. I had never thought of that before. Well, I realize that's a bit literal. I apologize. Well, as Yvonne said, I was born in New Orleans, a Catholic family. Some were more Catholic than others, or more Christian than others. And my dad especially, he would have called himself a Catholic, but I think he was more of a cultural Catholic. He, whenever he did attend Mass with my mother and I, he'd come out and tell me how many candles were on the altar, or something very non-spiritual. So I always knew I had to pray for him. That was my mandate. My mother always told me that. And we had some really dramatic results to those prayers, and I'll tell you about that a little later. Well, I was an only child, and I moved around quite a bit when I was growing up. One of the first places I remember living was the French Quarter. We had a little apartment on Royal Street, and we didn't live there very long, but while I was there, it was kind of over an antique shop. And I attended St. Louis Cathedral School. I think most people probably don't even know there's a school attached to that beautiful basilica, but there is, and you know about it. So it's beautiful, and I remember my third grade teacher was a little roly-poly nun. She was adorable, and I just loved her so much. Her name was Mother Josephine, and I felt like she loved me, so I felt like I belonged there. And everything was good. I was perfectly happy until my mother found out that my very best friend at St. Louis Cathedral School was the daughter of one of the ladies of the evening in the French Quarter. So the next thing I knew, I was boarding at Ursuline Academy. And that was quite a different story. They had very strict rules, and It was kind of austere. And it was an opposite thing for me to go there. But I was really, I think the problem was I was just too young to be away from home. I was in 4th and 5th grade, and I shouldn't have been away, I guess. But I only saw my parents on the weekends, so it was kind of a hard time. But my dorm mother was Mother Teresita, and she was a cute little bouncy nun who was very young, and she would line the kids up to have their hair combed in the morning. And she would braid or pull back or whatever she had to do to the hair. Well, unfortunately, my hair was kind of short and curly, and all I had to do was brush it. So I didn't get that tender moment with someone who loved me. So that didn't help too much. But the little girls would line up waiting to have their hair combed. Did anybody ever see Madeline, the movie? It was very much like Madeline, the movie. And the beds were all lined up in a row in the dormitory, and the girls would all line up in a row to have their hair combed. And it was very much like that. I'm going to fast forward and tell you a story that happened a few years ago. My daughter Kathy and I went down to Ursuline to see that beautiful statue of Our Lady of Prom Succor. That's where it's housed, at Ursuline Chapel. And we went in there, and it's a beautiful place, and it was so peaceful. It was quiet, and you had to get in by going through the school and, roundabout way. The doors were all kept locked. But they let us in, and while we were there, we had baby Katie with us. And Katie was about 2 months old. And Katie decided she was hungry while we were in the chapel. So Kathy proceeded to nurse her, and we were sitting there, dark, and there was nobody in the chapel, and we figured, that's okay if we do that. So we were sitting there, and I remember having been a little girl, and there's balconies above the chapel. If anybody, I know somebody went to Ursuline, so she knows, but there are balconies up there where the nuns, the sickly nuns, or the elderly nuns would sit and be able to see Mass without coming down the steps. And I remember as a child,